today, weather's absolutely shit house. It was nice and sunny, but the wind's just been chaotic. So another shed day, of course. Organised to get this engine primed up. So what I've done is just got a couple of 1/4 inch extensions, 5/16, goes onto the end of the shaft, fits there nicely. The only thing is, you got to be careful is when you're taking it in and out of the engine, just be very careful, because last thing you want to do is lose any part of this setup in the motor. So then the sump's got to come off, and yeah. So you just feed him down in there, sort of like this. With the Cleveland, anti-clockwise, don't go clockwise, otherwise you'll just be making bubbles in the sump. But so we'll give him a spin up. It is going to load the drill up a bit, but you are trying to pump all this oil through an engine. As you can see, coming out. Exactly what we want. Spin it over like this, then rotate the engine over a bit. Do it again, rotate the engine over a bit. Especially with cruisers, smaller cruisers. If you run the old style oiling, the cam actually has to be lined up to pass the oil up to the head. So if it's closed around a certain way, it actually won't pass the oil through easily. So when you spin the motor around, you'll most likely find that it'll open the passage up and send the oil up to the head. So anyway, pretty happy that that works and everything's all in its spot. So yeah, I'll turn it over a few more times, prime it up, and yeah, that should be pretty much right to go when we're ready. So back down here again, through the flap. So windows are now out of it, mainly because this one's trashed, and the back one, when old mate did the roof, decided to fill it full of sparks, and we got a 3-piece window anyway, so both are out now. So front one's out, it's all covered in gooey sealant and shit. So same old thing, bit of prep sol, get the bulk of it off first, then prep sol it, pretty much just wipes off, and whatever else is left usually dries enough to the point where if you hit it with a wire wheel or the sander, it's not going to clog it up. So that's sort of the idea. It's all pretty much good around here. It's starting to flare up here, so all I've done is just bent that back, drop all the shit out. I'll treat that, paint it, get that back down. Should be pretty much right to go. So as you can see, it's only ever been painted to the window rubbers. So that's the original sort of off-white. It's more of a creamy colour to me. And then, yeah, they've just taped there. Depends on what job it is. I'm not really a fan of it. If it's a job like this where I want to keep it for a long time, I'm definitely not going to just tape it to the window rubbers and leave it, because if I'm painting the roof, I may as well get the windows out, paint it, well, backmask it, paint it, and then put brand new rubbers in, and it's not going to leak, and then put either fresh glass in or put the original glass back in, and yeah, really sort of just do it properly. Get to the back side, you can see he's actually bogged to the window rubber, so there's a nice lip there. So it's not really the right thing to do. You usually try and end that to nothing, especially if you're going to go to a window rubber and leave it in there. You also got the gap there, which is full of the original sealant. I banged that out because the sealant's no good anymore, and yeah, I'll reseal that. Also, that shows that there's actually meant to be a line that goes across, and yeah, I'm going to actually have to probably grind into this a bit and see if he's bogged over the top, because you definitely can't bog that line up, because it's two skins, well, two panels welded together. They do move, they do flex, and as soon as you bog over that line, give it a few hundred Ks or whatever, yeah, it'll start cracking again, and yeah, fuck all your work up. So the only way you sort of get away with that is weld it up, and if you're going to weld it up, do it and then don't tell anybody. Yeah, so he's done that, and then, oh, hang on, fucking what? Ah, oh, fucking get fucked. So, back again. I don't know why I keep saying that this is it for the metalwork, and this is the reason you do bang the windows out of it too, because he's done the roof and suppose it's all finished and ready to go. Give that 5 minutes though, roof's fucked again. So yeah, it's just one of those things. So what I'll do is I'll cut a piece out, fold it up. So yeah, we probably should call this thing the bad tin today, because it looks good in the photos and you know it goes all right, and then you get into it a bit and there's a few holes that you didn't expect, and I reckon a fair few issues wrong with it, and you're yeah, you start to wonder if you're going to be able to finish it or not. Start asking yourself, are you going to follow through? What I've done is I've already started drilling out the spot welds. Yes, I might have went through there, but fuck it. So what I've done is marked it out, and I've gone 15mm from the actual fold there. The reason I haven't brought it back down is because of the shape of it. It actually curves back out, and it was a lot easier to actually move it up to there, and that's going to be a lot easier area to join it. And at the same time, last thing you want to do is cut it on the line there and then have to try and weld that joint up, and then next minute you've ended up with this shit because your weld's never going to be level, and then you got to grind it, try and level it out.
Yeah, straight up skills, no time for gimmicks. Breaking down tracks, the beats get diminished. Rhymes designed to be in the book of Guinness. Yo, son, where I'm from, yo, mics be getting tinted. Never making jacks, just making tracks when I said it. Battle.
Thought I'd show you while it's all sort of cut open. As you can see, it's all nice and brown in there. It's all surface rusty and shit. And this is sort of the reason a lot of people say I take a long time on building me cars. Yeah, you're not wrong. But there's a lot of effort and time put into actually making these things not rust from the inside out. So my truck, so my cab next door, it rusted out from the inside out because I didn't treat it. I didn't do anything to the inside of the truck and the inside of the panels that you can't see and all that sort of thing, because originally it was meant to be painted and it wasn't going to be long until that was getting done. And then burnout cars sort of took over, and then heap of shit went wrong, heap of shit blew up, all that sort of thing. And I wasn't really thinking about my priorities, of course. And then I ended up building a Datsun, so I could take the F100 off the road. And then by that time, yeah, it had eaten from the inside out that bad that basically, yeah, there's nothing left, as you've seen. And yeah, kicking myself for it, but it is what it is. Spent a lot of time just sealing all in here. It doesn't matter if you use, I'd say, like black paint on the floor if you can get it in there, or cavity wax is really good, or officialine, that's been around for years. That's been sort of the go-to method for a long time. Or even Fahrenheit. It's expensive, but it does work. And the idea is that rust can't continue on if it doesn't have oxygen. And if you've got a coating or whatever over the top and it's not sort of porous or broken through or anything like that, it will stop the oxygen from continuing on. So it means it'll slow the rust down or stop it completely for as long as it's coated. So I'll spend a shitload of time underneath the car, in between all the body panels, all that sort of shit, in sill panels, in pillars, all that sort of stuff, just trying to stop it from rusting, because we're in Portland, it's the rust capital of Vic, and you give anything half the chance to rust, it'll be gone in 10 minutes. Most of my time isn't actually making it look nice, painting the outside and getting it all sort of looking shit hot. Most of the time is actually trying to make it just last. So, and I've done it with pretty much every car that I've gotten further. So when you do repairs, you paint on the inside before you do your repair. Datsun, it got a heap of work done so it wouldn't rust on the inside. It's all been cavity wax, front to rear, all that sort of thing. Corolla's the same, and it's just to, yeah, make shit last, especially when they come factory rust, and fuck, they're 50 years old now almost. So Just you don't really want to do it before you paint, because sometimes it can leach out, wreck your paintwork. And that's why I avoided it with my truck. But yeah, I didn't think life was gonna sort of go the way it did. And also, for anyone wondering, the interior light wire runs to the passenger side of the truck. So if you've got rust on this side, you don't have to really worry about the cable or the power wire. But when you go to the left hand side and you start cutting in the roof, just be pretty careful that your interior light wire's there, and you don't really want to sort of nick through it, because it's a prick to try and run a new one. So for anyone who's wondering. So after 2 failed attempts and a wasted afternoon later, we're not really any further ahead than what we were yesterday. So what I ended up doing was taking that first piece down and starting to fold it, of course. So I did the first fold, which is that one there, and then straight away realised that this simple panel isn't very simple anymore. Maybe it is for skilled people, but not me, because the return fold, the second one here, is that close to the first one, because the fold I was using was a handbrake style. You can't physically do that because you've already got the fold in there and it's already kicked up, and it won't clamp it down, of course. So I was freaking out a little bit, didn't know what to do. So what I ended up doing was I remembered that I had my little white folders down there, and it's a press brake style, so it's got the V block in it, and yeah, it can come in pretty handy for sort of smaller stuff like this. The only problem was, even with that, it wouldn't let me go close enough to this first fold, so I ended up folding late, which is not really what I wanted. And what I ended up having to do was actually hammering the piece to try and get the actual roll or the bend to actually start earlier. And I ended up making that happen, but the only thing is, you start hammering and carrying on, you end up with a panel that looks like a banana, and it's just going to be more work than what it's worth to try and straighten that up. So every time you try and straighten it, metal's got to go somewhere, and it's just, yeah, it's just a nightmare. So scrap that one, and I thought I'd try and handle it. So I started with that. First fold didn't go too bad. Second fold was a nightmare. You'll see in the photo the contraption I had on the go. So the only problem with that is the piece that I had clamping down, which is that one down there, the little skinny fella. It was light enough, well, sorry, small enough that I could actually get the hammer around to where I needed to fold it. But the only thing was, it wasn't heavy enough to actually hold the piece nice and straight. So what it wanted to do was actually curve the same as the steel, and that means that your ends would fold nicely, but the middle wouldn't fold at all. So, well, it would fold, but definitely in a totally different radius than what the ends were. And then you start hammering more and more, and then next minute, because everything's under pressure, it explodes, lands on the floor, almost takes your feet out. And yeah, pretty much you're back to square one again. So probably if I finally got my shit together and actually got the clamps that actually use these holes, I probably could have set it up so it was actually clamped all the way across, and it probably would have worked fine. But I haven't got that stuff yet, and I only used the clamps that I had, so that didn't quite work, so scrap that one. So then I had one last idea, and it's usually right before I've got to head home and try and get some sleep. The old scrappy cab that I've used a couple of bits out of now, just sitting out in the yard waiting to go one day. Saved me ass a few times, so cheers for that, Zach. That cab's actually been really helpful. Ended up cutting the whole pretty much rear of the top of the rear window off, and yeah, ended up sort of taking a hell of a lot more than what I need, just in case I stuff up the first one or I need that section again for something else. Then we've got it, because it's already got the curve, it's already been pressed, everything's right. So what I'll do is trim it down so it fits, and then I'll unpick the inside because we don't actually need that, and then prep it all up, clean it all up, clean up the cab, paint the inside of this one, paint the inside of the cab, and yeah, hopefully get it welded on tomorrow night. It's one way of doing it, and the steel is actually pretty good on this one. Surprising, I thought it would be a lot worse on the inside. Also thinking about it, I probably could have done it with the bead roller. So I actually used one of the dies to actually roll the panel over. The only thing is I don't have my bead roller here because someone else decided to go and grab it and use it for their job. And yeah, I don't have my bead roller now, so I could have done it that way as well, and that would have worked. But anyway, it is what it is. We're out of the woods now anyway, so yeah, that's tomorrow's question.
Drinking marijuana, smoking street dweller who's always on the corner, rolling up blessed. When I dress is never nothing less than guess. Kobe walking with a bop and my hat turned back. Love committing sins and my friends sell crack. This nigga raps with a razor, keep it under my tongue. The school dropout, never like this shit from day one. Cause life ain't shit but stress, fake niggas and crab stunts. So I guzzle my Hennessy while pulling on mad blunts. The brutalizer, brutalizer, accelerator. The type of nigga who be pissing in your elevator. Somehow the rap game reminds me of.
So it's now fully welded. Just try to stagger it out, keep the head away, try not warp it too much. Has ended up a little bit warped, but also in my defense, not an excuse, but the whole thing's warped because old mate's actually done a roof repair here. So it's probably around here somewhere. It's a weird shape. Probably won't be able to see it, but there's a line going across, which is where the weld's penetrated through. And yeah, he's done that, and obviously heated this up because yeah, even that roll line has got a bit of a wobble in it. But I'll have a look at it once I clean this up, clean it up, smooth it off. I'll hammer it around, try and get it as good as I can. Worst case is if I get too picky, I'll get the stud welder or the dent puller, just pull out the lows, but I reckon it'll be more than fine. Get the back of the roof all cleaned up, finished off. So it's all fitting in there pretty nicely. A little bit wavy, but nothing too serious. Nothing I can't fix. And yeah, the curve of the panel fits in nicely with the curve of the rest of the window. So the window should fit in there pretty much spot on. The rubber should fit in there nicely. So pretty happy with how that's turned out. As I was saying, I didn't want to get into the roof, but I knew I was going to have to. I regret it, but had to be done. So dodgy repairs and rust, it's a bit like the Rona. The more you go looking for it, the more you're going to find, of course. And yeah, we found it. So oh mate's done a good job of fucking the roof up. Yeah, it's solid, it's fully welded, no worries. But he's cut the hole out, put his panel in behind, left it all low, welded it in, and then just hammered the roof to try and sort of get it down. And then yeah, it was a good 5-10 mil worth of bog here, which is just no good, and it's all full of holes and just shit. So I'll have to fix that one, which is no good. So I'll get up here. So I don't know if old mate had shares with 3M or Rage Gold or something, but fuck my, he must have had a 20 litre tin worth of filler, because like I've got grind in there and that looks like fucking snow tracks, like it's that deep. So that means there's that much filler in there. So yeah, really exciting. I'm just exhilarated, over the moon for it. So I know old mate that I bought this truck off, he said, yeah, I got the roof done by a mate, and you know, he's done a good job, so should be right to go. But yeah, probably good enough for you, but fucking nowhere near good enough for me. This is not gonna work. So especially when roofs like to flex, especially if you're banging over big holes like we've got pretty much on every road we've got in town here. Roofs do flex, and a lot of filler will actually sag the roof after a while. And yeah, it's only going to sort of hit once and then it'll crack, and you'll have a nice big crater, well, nice big split in your panel, and it'll be that deep, and then you'll be in more shit than what you were originally, and all that nice paintwork that you've put over the top has to all come off now, and you've got to do the roof again. Try and blend it, especially if there's no line here. means you've got to try and blend it into what you've already got there. So massive job and just not worth it. So also he's welded patch panels in. Obviously he had the heat fucking smashing into it, so that's all pulled down, no good. This is his big repair. I knew this was here because you could see it from underneath, but it's not even lined up in spots, and just, yeah, shit house. Also, when I was saying that the back here was a little bit wobbly, I straightened it out while the panel was out. It's because it's actually that low in here, it's been hit down. So over here is not bad, but over here is just fucked. And yeah, just loaded it full of filler. But yeah, old mate's done another lovely repair down this side, but he's left a heap of holes in his repair and a few other rust holes, so that's no good. And he's also done what I've always said, where there's a roof fold here, he's decided to weld along that. So now there's no straight line to go off, and you can feel that it's just fucking wonky. So exciting times coming ahead. So yeah, this is a lot of the reason why I don't trust anybody. Well, just people saying that repairs have been done in the past. Yeah, if they're good at what they do, yeah, I'll definitely trust them. But some random bloke that I don't know, and yeah, he's doing this sort of shit. It's the reason why I usually go looking, because I just know this shit's there, and yeah, I just can't leave things alone, of course, because I know that it's just going to come back and get me. And yeah, this is a good example. Not saying I'm good at what I'm doing, but don't do that.